Anne-Elisabeth Moutet. She is France's columnist for the Daily Telegraph newspaper. Thanks so much for being with us. As a French national yourself, who has followed Sarkozy's political career very closely, what do you make of this verdict and the sentence?
I think it's really interesting. As you know, Sarkozy has been the target of constant judicial inquiries, and it comes to a point where it's very difficult not to see a political will in this, because he is the big beast who's not running in the election, but who is looked at by the rest of the candidate in the presidential election next year. And in the case of this specific story, what's really amazing, and I mean in law this time, is that it is based on what Sarkozy's defenders argued, to my mind convincingly, was unadmissible evidence. What happened is that the new judicial body specific for financial cases created by Sarkozy's socialist follower, President François Hollande, decided to tap not only Sarkozy's telephone, but his wife's, his lawyers, and lawyer-client communication is privileged in France. They did this not with a mandate to tape only specific areas at specific times for specific questions, but they did this literally for months. And there were reports of judges gathering in offices to listen to the tapes for hours, trying to find something to pin on Sarkozy. And in any other normal country, this would not be admissible in court, because it is absolutely not within the legal framework for this. So it's really going to be interesting, because he's going to appeal that bit. But I think that the occurrence of this specifically now has got to do with the preparations for the presidential election, which is in May 22.
Okay, so you believe there's a political ploy behind a lot of it, at least in this case, but there's still more to come, particularly in the charges stemming from Sarkozy's relationship with Libya's Muammar Gaddafi back in the day. Anne-Elisabeth, everyone found that shocking when he welcomed Muammar Gaddafi to Paris. It almost made it obvious that there was something going on more than just one diplomat welcoming another to his country, let's put it that way. What are we expecting to see there? Because that could be a lot more serious than actually what today's verdict delivered.
This is much more interesting, and it's very interesting that in various aspects of French diplomacy abroad, in Pakistan more than 20 years ago, 25 years ago, for former Prime Minister Balladur, for instance, who was just indicted now when he's in his 90s over kickbacks. There is something that mixes, let's be charitable on this one, it mixes political ambition and political foreign policy ambitions with the possibility of financing in strange ways. In terms of Gaddafi, it's not over yet. I mean, they're working on it, and the allegations are that Sarkozy's victorious 2007 campaign was financed by money that came from Gaddafi. On the other hand, the people who say that he did that have recanted several times. They are former aides to Gaddafi. The whole thing is absolutely fascinating to watch, because it's a wonderful thriller. It's not finished, let's put it this way. It's not very clear what happened. But of course, the idea of anybody except the judges were to make it unclear. So we'll see whether they can sort of get something out of that one. It's a much more interesting story, to my mind, than the one that's being where the verdict was handed out just an hour ago.
Right. Anne-Elisabeth Moutet, thank you so much for joining us there with your insight from
Thank
Paris.
You.